In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about style, aesthetic design, and tools for making coding easier. We've been learning a lot about the nuts and bolts of coding and talking about best practices for universal design, and those are really important. Basically, those are the main constraints that you have on your design. Otherwise, you can be as creative as you like, and I want to encourage you to enact that creativity. So for example, when it comes to aesthetic design, the main principle is, aside from things like having enough contrast and choosing colors that are going to work with different types of color blindness, right? Those are the sort of best practice standards we want to make sure we're within. But as long as we're adhering to those kinds of guidelines, really the only other question is, what do you think looks good? So I really want you to use that as your guide. I want you to be creative, and I'm looking forward to seeing lots of different pages with different designs. I did want to note a few tools that can help you in your coding and help make things a little bit easier. And otherwise, you can be guided by your own creativity. So first of all, for those of you who feel like you might like some help in terms of choosing a color palette for your page, I thought I would show you a good tool for that. All of these tools that I'm going to show you are linked in our module on the website. This one is one called coolors.co, which is a color palette generating tool. From this generate page, you see it gives you a color palette. And if you want to change to a different palette, you hit the space bar and it will give you some different options. Now, if you find one that you like or that has some colors that you like, you can lock certain colors. Let's just say we lock these, and then just change out the other ones. I actually like that a lot better. So you can lock a few or one or two that you like and then continue to change the rest, again, just using the space bar. And notice it actually gives you the hex codes for each of the colors, so that helps you. When you hit the export, you can actually get the code view of that, which gives you the hex colors all in a group there. So that makes it very easy even to grab the color codes. So that's a good one to help you if you want to start with a color palette, gives you some ideas on that. The other two tools I'm going to show you are extensions for Chrome. And what I mean by that is a tool that actually functions in the browser. And you can see up here, these are all the different plugins or extensions that I have installed in my browser to help with your coding. And the two that I'm going to mention are the eyedropper color tool and the CSS reloader. So the eyedropper, it is just a little tool that allows you to identify the different colors on a page. So if you're looking at a page or even looking at an image on a page and you see a color that you'd like to recreate or use in your design, you can use this tool to find out what the code of that color is. So just for example, we'll go on to our page here. Let's say you really like that blue, and notice it gives you all sorts of different information. These are just colors that I've looked up before. So you just click on pick a color from the web page. Notice it gives you this little box that's showing you the color that you're on. And if I click on that, then it's telling me exactly what the hex code is for that, and even what the name of that color is. And it even gives me the RGB color if I wanted to do that. And we'll see a little bit later on that you can use the RGB to add a transparency if you want to. So that can be a useful thing to know as well. So that's the eyedropper. It allows you to determine what a color is on a page. It works with images, with plain HTML, whatever is viewed on the screen. You can use that eyedropper to figure out the color. So that's a really good tool to help you with your design. The other one that I want to note is this one, and that's the CSS reloader. Sometimes when you're working on your CSS and you make some changes and then you reload the page to look at it, you can't actually see the changes because the old CSS is still cached. It's still using the CSS that was saved in the browser, essentially. So you need this tool, the CSS reloader, to ensure that you're seeing the most current version of your CSS. Right now at the level that we're at, it may not be as vital, but as we continue to move on, it's something that I really recommend. So when you have this installed, when you right click on your page, you get reload CSS as a discrete option, and that's super helpful. And you also have this up here in your tool view in your browser, and so you can reload the CSS from there as well. So either one. That one, like I said, I really recommend. Sometimes it's really frustrating when you're making these changes in your CSS and you can't see the changes, and that tool fixes that problem. Just to recap, I showed you a couple of color tools, one for finding a color palette and another one for determining a color from a specific source on a page. And I showed you the CSS reloader, and all of those are really helpful tools as you code. Otherwise, we should be guided by those principles of universal design, first of all, as the boundaries for what we want to do in our coding. And then other than that, just use your creativity and make it look the way you think it looks good.